everyone, and welcome to this podcast show, What is Your Gift? And today we have this beautiful lady just in front of us, Alex Bowles. So Alex Bowles has a business called Shine Naturally. She's a kinesiologist. She's a well-being coach, and she specializes with children and women well-being, basically. And also, really, before you introduce yourself a bit more, Alex has been my teacher in kinesiology. I've learned with her, and I can tell you when we're talking about gift that she has her gift. Like, she loves it so much. Like, when she speaks about it, she has a whole body, a face shining, and just really, really passionate about her topic. And it's actually amazing to be a student with her, because really you feel comfortable, you feel you learn so much, and it's quite incredible to see what is kinesiology. Is very interesting. The body is incredible. So here you are. We have this beautiful Alex. Hello, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Aurélie. Thank you for the introduction. You're so sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. So it's funny because we were talking about this beautiful background. We were trying to find and fit the right place, but yeah, I don't have straight walls, but anyway.
Yeah, and I share that this is not normal. This is me rearranging half of my house every time I do stuff like this. So
that's right. That's right. It's funny because actually, if you could see around, you would see the mess around. But yeah, like in the picture, it looks good.
Yeah, keeping it real. Exactly, same here. This is my bedroom. So yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Just have to make it work for you. Yeah.
So tell me, Alex, we're talking about this gift. When did that happen, this gift? When did you learn about kinesiology? Yeah, tell me about your story.
Okay, when did I learn about it? It's actually quite funny. So I think I've always had touch in the way of connecting with people. And I remember even as a child, I would settle the children at preschool. My mom was a preschool teacher, and I would settle the children that didn't want to settle. I would just be with them. I was just those 5 years older and would just settle them. But I think it wasn't really nurtured. It wasn't something big my family would ever talk about. And then later on, I wanted to become an artist, but that was something you don't make money. So they said, be a teacher. And I did that. And I was like, if I wanted to make money, that was also not the right, by the way, I think. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I was like, okay, that's it. What do I want to be? Who I want to be? And I signed up with a distance course for fine arts, sort of like going, let's see, if that is something I want to explore more now. And in that course, I realized that working with colors and how I would either express myself through colors or how colors would really influence how I feel. And I remember going away doing my first Reiki course and coming back and talking to my mentor about energy healing and how colors make me feel and how I feel colors can really help people. And my mentor at the distance healing course said, do you know what, Alex, there's someone who teaches color therapy on Waiheke Island. And I literally just signed myself up. I had no idea what it was about. It was 3 levels in one go. Signed myself up. I flew up to Waiheke Island, to the Academy of Healing Arts, and I did the course, and I fell in love with colors, how they help people. And part of the course was quite a bit of kinesiology and this muscle testing. And I was super suspicious actually about this muscle testing and talking to the unconscious. And I gave Catherine, I think, a really hard time, because I said to her on day 3, I was like, okay, I'm not sure about this. Can I please choose colors by looking? And then you can muscle test me. And I want to find out, how does it compare with my goal and what's going on in my life?
Yeah.
Thank goodness she was very patient and said, Alex, we can do this. So we did. And it was interesting. It was a similar topic. But through the muscle testing, we went much deeper, much faster, but still in a safe way. Because, for example, like when I grew up, you know, being blonde, red-cheeked Bavarian, my family put me in all those pink outfits. And I still remember looking at pictures and going, pink is not a color for me. I had this aversion of pink is just horrible. I stay away from pink. But pink as a color for healing is about, you know, unconditional love, loving yourself. And then if you go more in the magentas, it's the doing little things with love, your feminine, you know, and I actually needed that more in my life, but just looking at them, my conscious mind told, no, we don't like pink. So I would just skip colors until I found a bottle that had a similar energy, but different color combination. Whereas with the muscle testing, I had quite a bit of pink in there. And it just went straight to the issue. And I love that. Like I was baffled by it. I love how it never takes you too deep. It doesn't go anywhere you're not ready. So I find it's a very safe modality, but it shows you the stressors, it shows you where you need to go. And then from there, I learned some other kinesiology modalities. And then I wanted to learn like the foundation, which is Touch for Health. That's how it all started about actually 50 years ago. They have their 50th anniversary this September, I think.
15, wow.
50. So I'm just super excited. And I thought, okay, if I learn kinesiology, I want to learn the foundation where it all started. And that part was more in the structural with, you know, with your meridians and working more on the physical body and physical alignments, but still going deep with emotions because it was always part of the triangle of health. So for me, it's just such a holistic modality, bringing it all together, and I'm just in love with it. Yeah, as you said before, I just love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is what is fascinating with kinesiology is that there are so many different schools, and it's what I like with your approach, even though we were doing Touch for Health, but you were opening, you know, the doors to, you know, there are other modalities that you can add to it, and it's just fascinating how, because yeah, it is mind-blowing. I remember this exercise where one of our colleagues was turning the back, and just by thinking a certain emotion, a positive or a negative, like the person could feel physically like the energy dropping. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. Yeah, because what is amazing is that you are practicing so you can see directly the result.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe, I don't know if you want to talk a bit more about the different modalities and the one that really resonates the most with you or that you like working with.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so oh my God, I think there's so many modalities and there's still so many I would like to explore. Okay, so the ones I teach and I use a lot is soul power kinesiology that brings the color kinesiology with lots and lots of healing modalities and energy healing together. So in there is Ho'oponopono, there is chakra balance, there is pretty much, it's actually Catherine Norris's knowledge of all the kinesiology courses she's ever done and energy healing she brought together, but under the umbrella using kinesiology and the muscle feedback. Then there's obviously the colors, which focus mainly on the colors and the chakras. There is Touch for Health kinesiology, which is like, for me, it's like the grandfather or the foundation. And that's works very much on your meridian system and has the triangle of health where you look at biochemicals. So it looks at nutritional support and what's going on, lifestyle choices, as well as obviously physical, a big part. And the third part is emotions and mental. And what I love about that is I know lots of people say, now we need to look more at the emotions and the emotional body to actually help with chronic pain and chronic conditions. And I think what I love about it that Touch for Health has been doing that for 50 years. So for me, it's like, you know, it's so important. And then I have also started exploring wellness kinesiology. No. Oh my goodness. Wayne Topping. Yes, wellness kinesiology. So he has a very sound foundation of Touch for Health. He was one of the first teachers trained actually under John Fee in America. And then he learned also biokinesiology and all sorts. But what I love about his courses, so he has very specialized stuff in trauma release, fear release. And I think because there is so much trauma going around, I've done that years ago, but I use his work a lot. And he's also doing lots of nutritional support. So while I'm not a nutritionist, I can still use the muscle feedback to figure out where your imbalances are, if you need more vitamin C, B, if there's any toxicity in your body. But then I can also ask your body what it actually wants and how it wants to have it balanced. You know, is it actually more foods? Is it actually a supplement? If possible, I always go for whole foods, but sometimes your body needs a bit more support. But also if there's toxicity, how to clear it out. And out of the different ways of clearing out toxicity, again, I ask your body how it wants to have it cleared. And then there is, oh my God, there's steps, there's so much. It's kinesiology from meditation kinesiology. So I've done that course as well, where you muscle test if the person would like an intuitive meditation, which I then create on the spot, and I muscle test the body, you know, what it is about. Is it more to help the client get into the session or to integrate at the end of the session? Does it become part of your homework, home play to continue at home? And there's also pre-scripts of meditations. And if the body wants one of those, we go there. There is so many people still creating different modalities. And yeah, and for me in my clinic, I never just go, oh, I'm only doing this, I'm only doing that. Because for me, it's a bit like I've learned all those modalities, but then, you know, if you would be my client orally, then your body knows what I can give you, what's in the room, what I have learned you, and therefore this is what comes up in a session. So no session is ever exactly the same. Some sessions quite active, where we literally move the muscles through the meridians and find the imbalances. And other ones you literally get to lie down for an hour and a half and work energetically on you, and, you know, might sometimes bring you out and say, hey, let's do this, what comes up for you here, can you repeat this? So I just call it bringing the magic together potentially, you know, because what happens in the session is what happens, and it's very tailored to the person who is in my room. That's the session is for, and that's what happens in that moment.
Yeah, that's right. It's like the body is, I mean, everyone is unique, and the body Monday will react differently on Wednesday, and so that's why it's always changing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're saying that you are specialized in women and children. Why this passion about specific? I know that you're doing you know, in any type of people, men, women, etc., but you are specialized in women and children. Why?
I think the biggest why is because I'm a woman. I became a mom. I've been on the journey of all the ups and downs. Before I became a kinesiologist, I was an early childhood teacher. So I've seen moms, I've worked with children. I've worked with children with behavior problems in Germany, and teenagers with like disabilities. And in Germany, the training is you learn quite a bit about the different disabilities and how to support children with special needs or people with special needs. And just seeing moms going through it, you know, seeing the sleep-deprived moms, being the second-time moms, the first-time moms. And then, you know, you can only imagine and feel into it so much when you're not a mom yet. But becoming a mom, even stuff I thought I had worked on, you know, in my 20s, seeing a therapist and doing my training. And as I said, kinesiology, you know, going right there where it needed to be. Becoming a mom was just another layer of, you know, this onion layer that was like, okay, that, you know, you reparent yourself, stuff comes up you've forgotten. My daughter Isla is like a mini me, and she's the biggest mirror who really pushes my buttons and teaches me so much about myself still. But I think until you're in it, so I think because I know what it feels to be in it, I know how it feels to lose a baby. I know how it feels to not have the birth you were hoping for. I know how it feels to have the second birth that nearly healed the first birth. So, and then going through all the emotions of, and the hormones, holy flower power for me. It's like, you know, at that moment, I'm in my mid-40s. So currently I'm exploring perimenopause because that's something happening. So I've done a couple of courses on hormonal balance and really looking into, you know, how can I support women? Because for me, it's about I want to empower women and I want to nurture them, because I think sometimes we've forgotten to, you know, look after ourselves. So for me, the nurturing and the empowering is like equal for me, because I want people to feel well, to thrive, to not just survive or cope. I want them to feel well, to be well, to live the life purpose in whatever shape it looks like. So I'm just super passionate about it, and their children. I mean, I've just I've done brain gym training, because brain gym or educational kinesiology, to support my son with some of his you know, difficulties for reading and writing, and integrating his reflexes, because I always had this nickel that some of his reflexes weren't integrated. So I found an amazing course on supporting children and adults to integrate reflexes, because if they're not integrated, you have higher anxiety, ADHD. You can even have chronic fatigue, because certain reflexes are not integrated. So again, I learned so much, and he was my, you know, my little helper on the way to get there. And yes, I'm supporting him, but I'm also supporting so many other clients in my clinic now. I'm just passionate for people to thrive and be well. I think that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess women and children, well, especially infants, they are part of the mom. So when you work with one, you work with the other one, and vice versa. So yeah, I think it's extremely powerful. So you are so you've done a course also to help people with maybe trauma or ADHD, you were saying, and
so it's so I've done with the ADHD and stuff is primitive reflexes. Like, for example, your moral reflex is your fear, and your fear reflex. You need to have a little bit of fear to keep you safe. But if you're in constant fear or fight flight, then you're hypervigilant, you're constantly burning through your adrenals, and you're in survival mode. You're not thriving, you're surviving. So there's ways of helping your adrenals to be balanced, and then helping to integrate that specific reflex. And I think in the training we had about 12 or 14 different reflexes. There's many more, but it's just like, you know, the basic, the big ones, the most common ones. And then the wellness kinesiology with Wayne Topping is lots about trauma and emotional release, and in that regard. So, you know, I currently work with moms getting ready for birth, but also after birth, working through birth trauma, reconnecting with the babies. And as you said, you know, I offer moms and bub sessions, because when parents say, "I'll just work on the baby for it to sleep better," I say, no, ideally, this is why I have moms and bub session. We need to work on both of you to help you. And because, yeah, we are so connected, and yeah, definitely. And even older children, I often say to parents, I hear you, I can support your child, I can, you know, support your teen or your 8-year-old, but ideally at least one of the parents, if not both. It would be good to do a couple of sessions too, depending on what it is, obviously. You know, if it's an injury, sport injury, that doesn't need to, but there's some other stuff like anxiety and other stuff happening. I have to work. Quite commonly, I work with the mom and the child for a while, and then
that's right. And I think it's so good to in phases this point, because yes, when we give birth, when we bring a new life, this new life has been, you know, in the womb, and in the womb you can hear, you can feel the mother, you can feel the father or the environment around. And so of course there are so many unconscious feelings that we have all the time. So when we don't address that as an adult, but the child is like a sponge, so it absorbs everything. So yeah, it's so good to hear that, because I see that in another modality that I'm doing, and it's what I love with all the different techniques that we're learning. It's when we're talking about the body, it's like the body is keeping the trauma, is keeping the emotions, and it's so important to really understand, wow, okay, if I yeah, as you were saying, being a mom, it's like a child is like the mirror of ourselves. It's so important to talk about that, Eric, and wow, thank you for talking about that. It's fantastic. And do you have, I don't know, maybe examples or something that, without going into details, obviously, but about a case, about someone that really is dear to your heart and that you've seen the difference, and so maybe people can understand more in details, like, wow, okay, that kinesiology can do that.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I know I have permission from because I have posted on my social media with her name before.
Yeah.
So I met someone who just had a mountain bike accident in Queenstown, and severe pain. She had got a plate, installed there, and also just to, start the healing process and so on. And it was really interesting because obviously the first session was all about pain relief and support there. And you have done Touch for Health 1 with me. So, it was, when I say it, as simple as, but I do teach little techniques for people to take home because I want them to be empowered, to support themselves at home. So I taught her how to run and trace the meridians in her arm, and it was mainly the lung meridian. And just by running the lung meridian a couple of times backwards and then finish on a few the right way the meridian runs, it brought the pain down instantly. And I can't remember the exact amount what she gave me feedback, but I think she halved the pain medication within 3 days. And after a week, she was pain-free. And even her surgeon said he never had anyone who was pain-free after 1 week of that kind of surgery. But I also have to say, give her the credit because she did do everything we discussed. She's like, okay, whenever the pain came, she did trace the meridians. She did it even if it wasn't painful, because the idea was that the broken energy lines get mended so that the energy can flow again. For me, pain is often stuck energy, a stuck emotion, or, if you think about being broken and cut and drilled in, we literally, there is like a hindering, what's it called in English, interruption of the energy flow. So just by supporting the energy flow again and working on those meridians, that helped her to bring the pain down because the energy could flow again and the body could naturally start to heal. Then continuing her support was interesting. I'm not going to go in depth, but through the muscle testing, we also explored what was the origin for her accident. She wanted to go deeper and explore this, and there came some issues up within the parents and her own reparenting and just issues she wanted to explore. So we did that, and again she went for it. She went deep, she allowed, she did the homework, she continued the affirmations and stuff. And then once the cast got removed, she also felt like that this body part wasn't even hers anymore because it looked skinnier, it looked different, there was a scar. So I then, on the third level we worked together, was helping her to reconnect to her arm, to love her arm, her hand, her wrist, making it part of herself again and feeling connected again. And even that in itself, to feel connected with self, was, another big lesson. So, but yeah, if you have a look, it's on my Facebook and Instagram as a story and her feedback. But yeah, I think that's just one example. And yeah, a while ago, it's quite a while, it was right in the beginning, I was fairly new to this and I was a bit scared when it all happened, but I supported someone, getting pregnant. And we actually, what you just brought up is even what we hold in womb or utero before. So what was a big thing there was we actually went, but it's been at least 8 years ago, but it's like, it was big. We actually did age regression, where there was like a certain feeling that really stressed her. So it was not just in the now, but we had to go into womb, utero, her upbringing of what she went through at different stages in her life. And even day of conception came up to clear out a specific emotion. And I remember going home, seeing family, and I haven't seen her in a while, and I came back and she just, I bumped into her on the street and she gave me this biggest hug and she said, "Oh my God, I'm pregnant, and look at my bum." And she was just so happy. And it was not just me. She, she seeked out other holistic practitioners as well. But she did say this one session just really stood out in her mind as one big part, that all of a sudden her body cleared all those emotions And once they were cleared, her body was actually ready to hold the baby and to, and yeah, that person is now, I don't know, 8, 9. And
Wow.
yeah, and I remember it was like my early days. I think I've only been doing this for like 2 years or so, and I was super nervous. And whenever something big like that, it's like, oh my God. But yeah, at the same time, it was extremely powerful, and it was a very gentle session. I know it sounds crazy, but it was gentle but deep at the same time, and it was just what needed in that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah. I remember you were talking during a course, I think it was one of your pregnancy. There was a food that you couldn't eat or something. Was there a story about? I can't remember. You were talking about I think it was pregnant with your daughter. There was something about that you were sick when you were smelling it, or
Hi. With Isla, so she is my rainbow baby. We lost 2 babies before, and I was at a point where I was like super scared of even eating certain foods. I remember that. Because in the leaflets you get, it's like don't eat eggs and this and this and this and this, and I was just super scared to lose another baby. But what's really interesting with Isla was that I was extremely sick, and I remember being grateful for being sick, because I always felt like feeling so sick, the hormones going still up, and that's why I'm sick. So I actually found it, it was not so nice to have the big white telephone at times. But for me, I was more like the days I didn't feel sick, I had to work through the fear of, oh my God, the pregnancy is not going ahead. But because I felt so sick, I couldn't eat a lot. And I think the story I shared was, and if anyone hears that, they're gonna go, this is nuts. The only thing that settled my stomach, and I only found out by accident, was Ferg Burger here in town, the pies. and it was literally Ferg pies and celery. Those 2 things, when I felt sick, was the only foods that really settled my stomach. And yes, I had at least 6 out of 7 days, I had 1 Ferg pie. I'm telling myself that it's good, wholesome meat that they're putting in there. It's all handmade and locally sourced, okay? And my celery sticks. But then what happened, it might have been what I shared, then what happened was, as the pregnancy continued with Isla, I've never felt so in tune with my own body and what the baby needed. So, because, then you have your apps that tell you what size of your baby, size of a cantaloupe or onion or whatever, and what your baby needs at certain times. And I remember I would often 3 to 4 days before the alarm would tell me, have more salmon because for brain development, or have more of this, my body naturally would crave that. And I found it fascinating. I also went off coffee and chocolate, which my husband was very concerned about, that I would be off coffee and chocolate. And I just found it very inspiring to see how your body, if you listen and slow down, actually knows. And I think that's another thing, is like connecting people back to their bodies, because we often know, and I think that's why I love kinesiology, because it helps you to reconnect to your body. Like your body knows, but we're living, not everyone, but most people nowadays have such a busy lifestyle, and it's all so busy, they forget to slow down and really connecting and going within. So I think that was a really big lesson for me, that I had for about 6 weeks, lots of pies and celery, and then it changed. Yeah. She still loves pies, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, funny. Cool, thank you. And so what that you step into your gift like so many years ago now, I guess it came progressively from what I understood. Did you because you were in art, did you jump straight into your gift and started to do your own business, or you were still a teacher for a while? How did the transition happen for you?
So I actually I think I jumped in, but with a bit of caution. So I was still working as a teacher as my main income, but I started then working as a color therapist and whatever other kinesiology I did, I just brought in. And I remember I finished my training, and I think 4 weeks later was a big expo here in Queenstown. So I was like, okay, I'm putting myself out there. I made my very basic flyer, and I just went for it. And I had so many people and interested and follow-up sessions, and it really pushed me to just trust and give it a go, and also learn that, you know, sometimes you also can't help someone. Like, you know, I also had to work through my ego. I think sometimes I might have balanced people too much in the beginning, not because, just because I was like, I know all of this and all of this can help, but it was more like I just wanted to help so much, and I had to really learn to dial it back. I think to just jump in and give it a go really helped me practice and explore, and, you know, being in situations out of my comfort zone that really helped me to learn. And I also believe that, you know, I only attracted people at the time who were ready to work with me, you know, on their level, and how I changed over time. Then therefore I'm attracting new and different clients. I think that sort of also changed. And I think if you can jump in and give it a go, I think that's one of the things. I know I've been told before, Alex, you know, the kinesiology course, you got it all. It's like, I just love it. And there's so much knowledge out there. So I do love to add, you know, I call it my little kit in my toolkit. But I've never waited until I've done all the courses I've ever wanted to do, because I think sometimes people can get stuck. And I do encourage my students to go out, and even if I say, even if you don't want to work straight away on strangers, work on friends. Sometimes working in your own family when you start off can be a bit tricky, because we are sometimes too connected. So it's sometimes easier to work on friends, and sometimes it's nearly easier to work on strangers, by the way, I find. But it's to just practice it and give it a go. And I remember one person said to me once, you know, if you're so scared to start, just think about all the people you are not serving by not sharing your gift because you're not ready to step into. Because, you know, I found it very liberating thinking of like, I have this gift I can share. Where I am at doesn't matter if I'm this amazing kinesiologist there who teaches worldwide, or if I'm this, like if I'm starting where I'm right now, I have my little toolkit and I'm ready to help who is ready to receive at this level. And yeah, when they said, you know, just imagine who you're not serving, you're unserving by not sharing your gift. If you approach it this way, I was sitting here this morning writing this one sentence down, and I could not remember who said it. So if anyone watches this and it was them, please let me know and I will add you to the comments. But it was a really big game changer for me, this statement. Yeah.
It is. Wow. Yeah, it is. It makes so much sense. Yeah. Wow.
And
that's true.
I do think it is scary. And I think it's important to surround yourself with people who support and nurture your light. And I love Brené Brown, who says, you know, there's candle blowers and you don't want to be with candle blowers. I like her analogy of that, you know, that everyone has this candle, this light inside of us. And you want to have people who nurture the light, who even, you know, fuel this light, who support it to shine brighter, and not people who try to dampen your light or blow it out. So no candle blowers, but people who support you, who nurture you, and who love you for who you are, and then support you to go out there and share your light. I think that is so important. And it doesn't have to be lots of people, even if you have one or two. And that is so important to have that as a support network as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what was your biggest challenge when you start? You know, what was your biggest fear? I guess it's somewhat something within you, but what was it?
It was two things. One of my not being good enough came up yet again.
Yeah. Oh, we know that one. This one well.
Yes, I know quite a few people know that one. And the other one was because I started my training before children, BC, and And then I finished my training in between my, having my two children, and then some of the stuff even after my second child. So then I think when my youngest was about 18 months old, I decided to give this a go full-time or part-time while being part-time mom, or full-time mom and part-time work, let's face it. But I was so in the masculine, I was so in the, okay, so if I don't have this, certain income each week coming in, I have to really thrive. I have to do this. And I remember in my mind, I kept saying, I need a break, I need a break, I need a break. Don't say that to yourself, because your body is listening. Because instead of me having the holiday I was aiming for, I broke my foot instead. So be mindful how you phrase it. If you need downtime, me time, a holiday in Rarotonga, keep saying that over and over, not I need a break. But I was just
that was literally, the body really broke something. Yeah,
it literally, and it wasn't even something exciting. I opened the door for someone and didn't see the step and rolled off the step. That was it. So I can't even say I climbed the mountain in Queenstown, I went mountain biking. No, I opened the door for someone. So yes, love my ACC forms. So I think those two things, like the not being good enough and then really being too much in the masculine and providing for my family and making equal amount of money, but from teaching and this and that. And then I healed my foot. I went back to teaching for a while and allowed this. And then, had sessions, balances on myself, but also, I have some of my dear friends where we do swapsies with, because I do think, yes, there's so much I can balance on myself, but sometimes it's so important to ask for help and if other people work on you. And what it came down to was to prioritize myself, to be, not just in the feminine when I'm the mom, but being the feminine to myself, to nurture myself, to allow time for myself. And I thought it was, work-life balance, but it's not about balance, it's about prioritizing yourself and, being a mom, a wife, business owner, it was like prioritizing myself. If I don't give to myself, then I do run on an empty cup. And I know it's a bit of a cliche because so many people talk about it. But for me, it was literally, I was so much in the masculine that I had to break my foot to then learn to slow down, to nurture, to get nurtured, from outside support, cooked meals, and so on for a while because I was hobbling along. And
yeah, because it was the food too. Yes, it's really like, there was like, slow down.
Yes, it was, slow down, literally.
On the arm is the foot, so it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So I think those two things, and I think I'm getting much better at prioritizing myself. I think I see the signs much earlier, but I'm also much better to have like, in my weekly planner, I book out a certain time, at least one bigger slot. That is, it can be a walk, it can be having time for doodling, it can be going to City Cave and have a float or something, or have a session with someone else. So some things are bigger stuff, paid stuff, and sometimes a little stuff like just sitting at home, dancing, putting music on and dance. But I treat myself as my client. I block the time out, because if I don't block it out, it gets easily snatched up with admin or this or that. And the only time I would not do it is if my hubby is away and the children are sick. And even then I try to find a way, okay, if I have my children at home, how can I still do this if I can't go for a float? Can I put a movie on for half an hour, and I go and have a bath? Just still finding ways of not being so harsh on myself and, oh my God, 2 hours TV time a day. And balance it out and see, okay, if that doesn't work, how can I do that for myself? And the other one I said before, they're not good enough. I'm getting better at it. It still sometimes sneaks in, but it's yet another layer, and I accept it, and I go a lot into my heart space to just feel grounded and within, because that is where I know it's safe. I know who I am. I know my gifts, and from there I also hope to connect to my clients.
Wow, thank you. for reminding me that too. You see your mirror on that one. Just good to hear that before I break something.
Yes, rephrase it. Holiday in Rarotonga, all inclusive or something like that. Rephrase it.
Yeah, sounds good. Niue. I want to go to Niue.
There we go. Yeah.
So what would you say, I guess you started to answer the question, but what would you say to someone that has a gift, but too scared to step into the next level?
Definitely surround yourself with your people who support you and nurture you and love you for who you are and fully love you for who you are. Don't listen to all the chatter on the outside of what you should be doing. I normally say any shoulds, woulds, coulds, don't do it. Don't should yourself. Connect into your heart space, because I do think, instead of the outside noises of what you should be doing, we often have the answer within. If you can afford it, and even if you can't, but sort of like on the verge, sometimes a business coach or mentor in some sort of way. I wish I would have done it earlier, to be honest, even how to set up a business. I'm still going back through certain things like technical sides. If I would have had the support from the beginning, it might feel big, but there is so many different business coaches and mentors out there. Find someone that works for you at this time to even just set up your business and get stuff sorted. It would have saved me a lot of time and money over the years, I think, to have someone much earlier. And oops, got a visitor here. And what else? And then, do it with people you feel safe. If you're not ready to go out there to do it to everyone, practice on your friends. You might even have a friend who has done the same course with you, work on each other, and then maybe include some other people in, do some offerings. And yeah, it comes back to, I think it comes back to the sentence before, who are you not serving or unserving by not sharing your gift? I think I bring it back to that, because I find it very profound. Instead of going, I'm scared of doing that, if you go, oh, I'm not serving someone, not to have a guilt trip, but it's a different perspective. It's like, there is the right people out there for me who are ready to receive my gift. It's a very different starting point than what I'm not good enough, or what if this or what that. It's like, oh yeah, I think I bring it back to that.
Yeah, love it. Thank you. I think I will write down this sentence. I will ask you to send it, and I will put that in the description underneath, because it's a very powerful sentence. Yeah, loving it. And so same question, but with someone that is not really sure of the gift or the passion yet, but they feel that there is something calling them.
Ooh. Yeah, I was sitting with that one. Was like, ooh, that's a good one. I think if they're not sure yet, I think on an unconscious level they do know. It's the sitting still. It's sometimes this little voice or those little experiences that they go, oh, that that really helped this person, or I really want to do this more. And I think it's often also your part of your passion or part of your soul journey or your soul purpose. So we do have it within us. I think it's the coming back, the connecting within, I think. It's this little voice, this little inner knowing or feeling or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a full-on, big loud voice in your face. And to follow that and to trust it, which is not easy. I get that.
Yeah.
It's not easy. But I think to start there, and then, even to share your gift with, again, people who are close, people who support you, to gain more confidence. And sometimes it's also a leap of faith. Like I was thinking, I was doing an art certificate and enrolled myself into in color kinesiology. I had no idea what this course was about. I literally thought color, energy healing, I'm there. So sometimes, you know, I think sometimes it's just opportunities present also in your life where you just do this leap of faith. There is something you like about something you hear. You have no idea what it is, but you just have this inner voice of like, I want to give this a go. And the thing is, like, it doesn't mean you're stuck with that. If it would have been the wrong course, then I would have learned my experiences, taken away what is right for me, and would have gone, okay, I definitely don't want to do this one, but I like just the kinesiology part, and I would have done this. So I think there is no, oh, this is right and wrong, because if you know, even do the leap of faith or do something, then you still have the chance to choose what you take out of it. And if it wasn't the right one, then just, you know, keep on swimming. I should have not said that out loud, a bit like Dory. You know, just keep going, and other opportunities might present themselves. And I can't believe I had just Dory in my head. I'm really sorry I'm saying this out loud again. So it's just to keep going and giving it a go. I think that's the biggest thing, is like giving things a go, and know that nothing is set in stone. You have a chance to change it. It's your life. Yeah.
That's what it's like. Yeah, like this long road, but sometimes there are some little ways around, and we take that to learn this thing, but then the life is bringing you back. Yeah, bring us back to where we need to go.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I love it. And I love the idea of you actually unconsciously know it, but yeah, you're just scared of listening to this little voice. And I think a lot of us can relate on that. Love it. Wow, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Wow. So, oh yes. On your journey, before, now, whatever comes up, what were the author, podcasts, books that I don't know, helped you during your journey?
I was sitting with it this morning. I'm one of those people who would love to get more into podcasts, and I'm not there yet. I think I quite like my stillness, or it's something I've been exploring. I think my house is normally quite busy and loud. So for me, having stillness and no background noise, and I don't mean it in a bad way, I know it's educational. There have not been many podcasts. I was thinking before, okay, so one of the books I actually got off the shelf that was right in the beginning, and I have sent it to quite a few people, is The Healer's Manual. And I found this interesting on my journey because it has lots of different healing modalities in it, and you just learn a little bit about them with little examples how to practice them and giving it a go by yourself. And I quite like that, just to explore what's out there, because when you're new, it all seems so big. So that was one I really enjoyed reading. I have read Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and I just loved it. It made me laugh. It made me, you know, even just the heading Untamed, I was like, yes, you know, to unsocialize yourself and reconnect to yourself and be true to yourself. Oh, there's something good here. And then that was a good one. And then what happened in my life was that I actually bumped into people in some sort of ways that really inspired me and opened my mind to something new. And that's what opened the next door or the next path. I think I was sitting with that before. There's like, even, you know, I moved out from home quite early. And I had always people, I found support that inspired me to learn about this, to learn about that. And then it brought me to this, it brought me to that, and just being open to learn. So I feel quite grateful to have like lots of different people, like from as early as my teenage years, that supported me in some sort or another of where I was in my life. And explore. I just realized that, and I was always open to explore. So one of my numerology numbers is number 7, which is lifelong learning. So I think I always had the If I heard about something or met someone that inspired me, I then explored that more to see how it works and resonates with me. And one person I really enjoy following at the moment to still go another level deeper on my own trauma work, I just find her stuff very inspiring, is the holistic psychologist. And I actually just ordered her book and it arrived a couple of weeks ago. It was my birthday present to myself. And it's literally how to meet yourself. It's literally the heading. So it's more like a workbook. So I haven't quite started properly yet. I sort of, started to flick through some pages.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, even so, I'm more and more myself and speak up for myself, or not, because I don't have to, because I know who I am. But there is still for me more to explore. So I'm really excited about that book, because I do follow her on Facebook and Instagram, and I just love what she puts out there for self-development and discovery.
Yeah. Wow, beautiful. Never heard about her. Thank you. Put that in a comment too. And so would you have like a little easy exercise or something maybe to give away to people that I feel, worried? Because, you were talking about bringing back to you were doing a lot of heart centering. And so do you have any little exercise, whether it's kinesiology or something else, that could help someone to maybe calm down their nervous system, or anything else?
One, maybe two little things, if that's okay. Have your time.
Sure.
So one is called centering, and I love this. I'm just going to bring the video a bit further down. On your days where you feel all over the place and scattered and off balance, and just one of those days where everything feels too big. So I quite like to do some centering, and it's literally I quite like to rub my hands together just to get the chi going. And then I bring my hands just over my heart for a moment and connect. And you might even like to take a deep breath. And bring your awareness to your heart space, to your center, to your safe place. And then from there, you slowly bring your hands out, and you just super, super slowly go through your aura, your etheric field. And wherever your hand naturally stops, you allow your hands to stop and bring some white light in, or any color that comes to mind. Trust that whatever color comes to mind is the perfect color in that moment. And then when your hands are able to move a bit more again, bring them further out. And you literally bring them out as far as you can reach. And when you're ready, bring them back over your heart. And again, you move them slowly towards your heart, and don't worry if there's, feeling stuck at any point. Some color there. Take a deep breath. And this is all about centering yourself, bringing all parts of yourself back. And you do this movement in and out from your heart space until it moves easily, until your hands move without getting stuck anywhere. I'm going to do it one more time for myself, and really you just take your own time where I move my hands out. And now they move nice and freely.
Wow, you really can feel the difference. Yeah, I had a blue and green color. Interesting.
Oh, nice. And it is, maybe took us 2 minutes, but if you're having a day where you feel all over the place, you can't go for a walk or anything else, I would say that's one, my go-to, centering or heart centering.
Beautiful.
And, And that's part of soul power kinesiology. Yeah. And the other one I love is I set myself reminders throughout the day. And especially if I have a busy week or back-to-back clients, I set myself reminders of 2 to 3 minutes, at least 3 times a day. And I find this extremely powerful because, if you think about, you don't have 10 minutes to meditate. If that's your mindset, I don't have 10 minutes, but if you can't do it in one slot of 10, 15 minutes, okay, then I have little reminders where my first reminder is to go outside bare feet and to stand on the grass for 2 minutes and breathe and taking everything in. My second reminder is normally just breathing, bringing my hand, like what we did now. I start normally on my chest. I love to connect to my heart by putting my hand on it. It's like, I've done it so many times, it's like an anchor now, like just by putting my hand on, my nervous system already calms down. But bringing my hand here and just breathe. And you can do that with your eyes open or closed. It doesn't have to be, if closing your eyes feels too uncomfortable in the beginning, you don't have to. And then my third one is depending on how my days go. Sometimes it's the heart centering. Sometimes I put 2 minutes, my favorite song on and bounce around. It's like anything that connects you to yourself in that moment and brings you back into your safe space. And if I do the 2-3 minutes 3 times, I have done 6 to 9 minutes of some sort of moving meditation, breathing, or whatever. So by the end of the day, I don't, then my mind doesn't go, I haven't done it yet again. I go, wow, I've done 9 minutes of me time today, and I feel really good. And, and then on top bonus is I do aim to have some quiet time, go for a walk, or I have some sort of meditation in my life daily. But if there is days it just didn't happen for whatever, I've done 9 minutes.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, because we are good at beating ourselves up. Like, oh, I should have done that. I didn't have time, or I didn't take the time, blame. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the, like, all my moms, or most of the women, if they're moms or not, because you don't have to be a mom to be busy. It's one of the things I say, we start with that. And because you also know, sometimes you go, oh, I don't have time to go for a long walk, or I don't have time to play the violin or the piano or whatever it is. And when you then sit down and you say, okay, if I only make it 5 minutes, you normally end up going longer than 5 minutes. That's the next thing. But if you tell yourself I haven't got an hour, then you're not even gonna start. But if you say, okay, 5 minutes, and quite often if you have time long, you go, oh, that feels really nice, I might stay here a little bit longer, or might, so you often end up actually going longer, and it feels really good because you're realizing, oh, it feels good, and I had more time than I thought I had. And it's actually just to, retraining our mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's exactly that. And yeah, taking a couple of minutes, it's all right. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Wow, fantastic. Yeah, I wrote a few notes. I love that. I'm probably going to put the reminders for myself too.
Honestly, yeah, it's awesome.
Cool, awesome. So, what do you have any projects? I've seen that you have some workshops, some courses coming. Or what are your projects?
This year, it has been, the last few years have been just nuts. I know it has been nuts for everyone. I don't even want to say the C word anymore. So this year, I have a little book of all my goodies and my ideas. And I'm really, really, really hoping to create my own first mini course this year for women. So watch the space.
So mini course, do you mean with your own, from your own creation? Oh, yeah. That's exciting.
So let's see how it goes, because we also find out that we might have to go home for some other reasons for longer. But if all goes well, I really would like to have this, my first little mini course, come out. And that's something I will, it's sort of in the pipeline, but not in production yet. So, and but I also learned to trust, like I have this idea, it's in the pipeline, and whatever, I do find the universe is throwing me sometimes curveballs to see how I deal with that change. as I said, we might have to go overseas for a while, so it might take a bit longer. And I'm currently having some people interested in, before I go away, to do soul power. So I'm teaching that level 1 to 3, hopefully as of mid-May. And yeah, just working on my ideas, because there is some bigger ideas and other things. But it's just now the kids getting a bit older, so I find it just frees up a little bit of my time more. And I also have an amazing business coach at the moment who goes, Alex, you can do this. So I'm really enjoying her. So it's been amazing working with her at the moment. And she's very much in the feminine while knowing all the masculine and the doing stuff. And I really appreciate that. To remind me to be more in my own feminine and in the creative. It's very supportive. So it's Olivia Day. If anyone is interested, I can highly recommend her. She is beautiful to work with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can maybe just send me her details, and I can add that in the comments.
Yeah. So yeah, and then the rest, whatever happens this year. As I said, I had lots of ideas for this year, and we just found out that we might have to go overseas for a bit longer than planned. So I go with whatever happens this year and go with the flow. And when my courses are ready, I will share them with the world. Yeah. And in the meanwhile, I'm still love to teach, touch by house and all the other stuff. And many of them can be taught online. So we'll see how I go. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the beauty of it, is that you can have clients online.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping to, I have some clients already online. They book regularly, and so I'm hoping to, take my beautiful in-person clients for a while online with me, whatever country I am, and then come back to them in person. Yeah. So that's the plan.
That's amazing to know that it works the same. The result is there. That's great to know.
Yeah. And I had some people who lived here and they moved away, and as and some of them gave it a go online, and they were like, I'm loving it. So, and they can see it's the same results, and from the comfort of your own home. And if we do nutritional stuff, all they do is walk in the pantry and get the supplements or the foods they have, and we test for them. And so, and we can do many things. Actually, all of the stuff I do can be done online. It has been really beautiful. So yeah, so it has been exciting to explore that more. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. That's great to know. And I will put, so what would be the best way to reach out? I know that you have a website and you have a Facebook and an Instagram.
So my webpage, you're very welcome to look at my current webpage. It's currently redone because it's so not my energy anymore, but that's okay. There's still lots of good information and how to book and so on there. So obviously go for there. My new website is hopefully up by the end of the month. I'm super excited about this. And the other way is connecting through Instagram and Facebook, or flicking me a message.
Yeah.
And I normally do my best to reply. And if people have any questions, if they want to work with me, sometimes say, people, I have this, can you actually help? How would you approach it? How are you different from so and so? And I normally just, explain how I would approach it. Be honest that it also comes down to what the body wants, and we explore it together. And yeah.
Excellent, thank you. Perfect. Well, that was a pleasure to have you in this interview. Is there any last word that you would like to say that we haven't talked about, or something that is in your mind? Or
no, just thank you for having me. I've been, as I said before, I was super nervous, and it was just beautiful being in the energy with you, Aurelie, and the nervousness has gone, and it's just been beautiful to be here. So thank you for, allowing me to be part of your beautiful podcast. It's very exciting. And as I said before, your work you're doing is so inspiring to me at the moment. And thank you. I just really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being you and for offering this. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's so fun to inspire each other. That's the main thing, because we always, looking at, when you were talking about having all these social people around you to nurture you, to support you, and it's exactly that, oh, this person is doing that, just going to grab a bit of that, a little bit of that, and I do my own little thing, and ta-da!
Yes. You make it your own magic. Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye, Alex.
Bye.